Off we go to live land. We're live! Oh my god, we're live! We're here, folks. All right.
Whee!
All right.
Gotta love the happy sound checks.
Off we go to live land. We're live! Oh my god, we're live! Yeah, that sounds okay.
Except for your strange voice. That's a very strange voice you made there.
Yes, it is. It's a squeaky voice. That's about all I can do for effects. Go squeaky.
Your alter ego especially loves the wee.
Uh-huh. I don't know. All I see is, hey, Hemdian, you're early.
Hey, good to see you.
As we peek through it all.
Peek through it all, try to get my sound working. I don't know, how am I sounding today, Hemdian? Am I sounding better than I was before? Finally figured out my mic. Turns out you're supposed to talk to the side of it, not the top of it.
And it has settings on that microphone. Did you set it to
Yes.
the cardioid setting like I said?
Yes. Yes, I did. I'm learning how to use the microphone. I'm quite pleased by this.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been helpful if all the things that I was reading before actually spoke layman's terms. Oh, good. Hemdian says we sound good.
Yeah.
And your alter ego says that we're sounding good for both of us, which is awesome.
Yep.
Yay!
I guess you're getting a text stream, are you?
I sure am.
Hmm.
So I guess that means I'm looking at like 5 different things. Hey, what do you know? ADHD comes in useful.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. It's got its handy bits here and there.
Yeah, unfortunately, the beautiful distraction capability that makes it possible to do like 5 things also makes it so that when you're stuck with only paying attention to one thing, your mind wanders.
Yeah, that's the problem. Really quite the irritant.
Squirrel!
And I get to play my sound effects back at full volume. So maybe all the sounds will probably be proper in the end. All right. Only took a couple of months to get this thing back under wraps. Let's hope it holds together. Need the damn thing to hold together. Keep the sounds working. Oh. My chickens are digging a hole to China, I think. Tunneling. Are you even there? Nobody there but
Hello.
me. Ah. Did you like
Am I being heard again?
Did you like mute yourself out?
I bumped it.
Uh-huh.
I didn't mean to.
Don't bump it. You have to be facing the mic now to actually get picked up.
I am facing the mic, but I bumped it.
Okay, and why did it go silent?
Because I caught it and I didn't think I hit the mute button.
Oh. You did more than bump it, you knocked it off. Yes, call me chickens, man. My chickens are digging a tunnel to China, I think. And they like they like pecking at the tin shed next to their thing for some reason.
Yeah, they also like pecking at the stand for the water. Like, whenever I take the water away to go change it out, they all gather around the metal disc it sits on. They all peck at it.
Oh, that's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to go out and plug that in this morning.
That's probably a good idea.
So the water doesn't freeze.
You have really weird chickens. Like, they are... I flattened out their area 3 times this last week, and I even like stomped on it, tried to make it harder for them to dig, and no, it doesn't help.
I did that yesterday, and they dug it all up again by this morning.
Exactly.
Yes.
You got crazy chickens. Either they're just really bored.
They're bored. I gotta get some stuff in there for them to be no longer bored. They're digging because they want food.
But they have food.
They don't want that food. They want something different.
Ah. Yeah, they really enjoyed the pumpkin I gave them.
Yeah, they like pumpkin.
I didn't think about it, but I should have brought over one of our carved pumpkins and then just stuck it in the middle for them to let them go at it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about it, though. I dropped it off at the Pumpkin Avenue, as I've started calling it, where everyone around here drops their pumpkins off.
That's not Pumpkin Avenue. That's Sleepy Hollow.
Yes. Okay, that makes more sense.
Because it's a very dark forested section, and every once in a while there's people that go down there and put candles in all the pumpkins. I've driven by it at night with all the pumpkins lit up. It's actually quite cool and creepy at the same time. Because people put pumpkins in the trees and on the stumps and all over the place, man.
Yeah, we added our pumpkins.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really creepy when somebody takes the time and to go in there and put a bunch of tea light candles in all the pumpkins.
Huh, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah,
I noticed a couple of them have become targets for people driving by.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have the squashed pumpkins to give it that look of just ended battle or something.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, enough of Sleepy Hollow. Everything else, let's get a little music and get the show on the road.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Okay. All right, time for the backup recording device.
Always a good idea.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's episode 579, and we have plugins for Woo Markup, Fencing, Stickers, Crawling Hunter, Confetti, History Today, and ClassicPress options, all coming up on WordPress plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet.
And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A to Z.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe. Coming to you direct from the Oasis, deep in the heart of the Cowichan Valley. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber Overall.
And we're here today fighting chickens that are trying to dig a hole to China and all kinds of other fun stuff, attempting to snow out here in the great north, where are we at? We're somewhere in northwest, I guess. At any rate, that's really all I have today. I don't have a whole lot babbling.
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
So welcome to episode 579. Up and Away with WordPress is the name of today's show. And it's episode 39 for 2022. Winter has come. It's here, at least on parts of the island. Woke up to a bit of snow this morning. Kind of cold. Definitely smells like snow out there. And remember that on Friday is Remembrance Day, where we think of all those who have served or are currently serving their country. By choice, some without choice. They're trying to make this world a bit better for us all. So please remember to take a moment on Friday to remember them all. And a message from your A to Z plugin worker bees. This is a value for value show, meaning any value you find here, offer that same value back. We accept all currencies, including time and talent currency. Although chocolate is always good too. Remember, don't skip the end of the show. You never know what kind of amazing, life-altering advice you might catch. Like how to fill your site as full as possible with spam. You know, all the good stuff. And a special note to our new listeners, don't be shy to ask your questions. There is no such thing as a dumb question. Dumbo the elephant agrees. Let's start the show off with this week's featured artist. We have an awesome picture from Greg's Graphics. My tongue is trying to twist all up into all kinds of funny shapes today. I really like this, kind of floating over, it looks like sand dunes.
Yeah, it looks like possibly a desert area. I don't know. It's just a cool one. I just like the air balloons.
Air balloons are cool.
Never
One of
been
my
in
favorite
one.
things is airships.
Yeah.
I wish airships would really become a thing, because I think they're just cool.
They were a thing all the way up until the Hindenburg blew up.
Yeah, but I wish they'd, stuck around. Fix
Yeah.
whatever caused the issue. 'Cause
Well,
I think they're cool. I think it would be so fun to be an airship captain.
maybe they might not have wanted to use, what was it? Hydrogen? Maybe they might want to use something besides hydrogen, which is extremely explosive.
Yeah, that might have been an issue. So thank you, Greg, for
Yes.
supporting us with all of your art. It's amazing and wonderful to have the art there for us. If anybody's feeling inspired, they can head over to wppluginsa2z.com/artwork and submit some of your own artwork.
Absolutely.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! And now the news with Amber.
I like the new jingle. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's much smoother. Not as jolting.
So first up today, we have the WordPress vulnerability report from November 2nd. There is one theme vulnerability that has been patched. It's called Ask Me, and it was patched in version 6.8.7. If this is something you use, be sure to update. And there is a small list of plugins to pay attention to this week. Grid Kit Premium, Evaluate, Login Block IPs, and WP Best Quiz. So pay attention to those. They may be fixed by next week, but for now, I want to pay some close attention. And then next up, we have new missing menu items. Plugin adds site building links to WordPress admins. So if you've been using the new full site editing, the FSE, you might have noticed the lack of menu items via direct access. There is now a workaround to this inconvenience. Cut and paste. I put the code in the notes, and you cut and paste it to the end of your website, then you bookmark it. What it does is it expands the admin menu with links to reusable blocks, navigation, menus, templates, and template parts, making them all one click away rather than a dozen. So it's very useful. There's also, I noticed when I was going through the plugins this weekend, I noticed there's a couple of brand new plugins that are kind of aiming to do the same thing.
Yeah, I imagine a plugin would solve the problem, but why the heck did they remove the menu items?
I don't think it's so much that they removed them as they haven't quite. I don't know. Like, they talk about how they're newly missing, but at the same time, they mentioned that a few of these aren't. They weren't actually there yet. So it's definitely an article you want to check out if you're trying to understand.
Yay, WordPress and their advances.
Andean said, "Wait, what? New jingle? Oh." We got a couple new jingles now. It's exciting.
We do.
Next we
Charlie's
have
been busy. Charlie's been busy.
Yes, he has. He's been crazy busy.
He creates the jingles.
It's really good to have him back.
Yes, it is.
So WP All Import is moving away from lifetime licenses. WP All Import has announced that it will soon be changing its license to annual licenses. It includes both free and commercial still, though the unlimited licenses will no longer be sold. So the lifetime licenses will no longer be sold. It'll just be annually charged. However, they have assured that they will be honoring their lifetime licenses that they've already sold. So you'll be grandfathered in if you already have a lifetime license.
Yay for them.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen it too many times over the years. They start with this, realize that while they can make money, it's not an effective way of having long-term income, and they got to switch, which is explained by these guys here. It was like, I read that article. You know, and I read their notice. It's like, you know, while we understand and blah, 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 but they're just going to straight out honor it. But I've seen companies not honor it, and it just really pissed me off.
Well,
Those
yeah.
are companies I quit using.
You enter into a contract with them, you buy something from them, and then they change it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
No good.
At least, and a few of the companies that I still have plugins for, I bought their licenses when they were brand new. They're full licenses for, you know, short amount. I had to pay them annually, but as long as I pay the annual fee, I still get it at a significant discount over what they sell it for now, because they honored the original contract.
That's perfect.
Which is how you should do it. You should honor your customers that stick around forever. They're often your least problematic customers. They're the ones that require the least amount of attention. It's the ones that want it really cheap and complain a lot that are problems.
Always want to keep your first customers around when they're good customers.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have iCode. It's iCode. They launched a new site for WP rankings. So this site that they launched, it was released just 1 week after the information was pulled from WordPress.org. This shows if a plugin is ranking higher or lower than the day before, and how many positions it needs to climb to reach the next milestone. The homepage only shows the top 50 ranking plugins, though you can find your own through the filter, and all the data is refreshed daily. So this should hopefully help.
Nice. Yeah, that'll help solve the problem for those that are looking for the info, since WordPress doesn't want to deal with it anymore for some strange reason.
Yeah, I haven't really heard much on that front regarding the rankings that they pulled down. I haven't really heard anything about whether or not they're going to really even do anything. They kind of responded and they just kind of stopped.
And now they won't do anything about it at all because somebody else stepped up to take care of it.
That makes sense. Next we have WordPress 6.1 retires default site tagline in favor of an empty string. The default site tagline, just another WordPress site, is now a thing of the past. Instead, what you now see is the site tagline is empty by default in new sites, but can be modified in general settings.
Well, that's nice. It only took them 17 years to get around to doing that. Instead of,
Yeah.
there's dozens of plugins and other methods used over the years to change it. Now that's finally nice that they finally went, oh, maybe people don't want it to default to this.
Yeah, well, there's been a few issues with it. Like, not all themes display the taglines,
Yes.
so not everyone changes it.
Yes.
And when they don't change it, they don't, like, when their theme doesn't show it, they don't realize that there are still some parts of the site that show just another WordPress site.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
it's kind of been an issue for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it only took them 17 years to figure that one out.
And the last one I have is my entertaining one of the day. Here's what work would be like if it were run like a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization. So this article is actually really pro DAO, but I'm not so sure about it. Like, this article goes through and it talks about how there will be no more boss, you won't have to go anywhere for working, you won't have a single company you work for, instead you'll get paid from a whole bunch of them, and it's all very positive, but I can't help thinking of a dystopian future.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can think of whenever I think about a DAO kind of future. It's just too dystopian for me. I'm not fond of it.
The problem is you ultimately always need a leader in an organization. As much as I like to complain and bitch about our benevolent dictator, without him, the program wouldn't head in the right direction.
This is true.
Because somebody has to, in the end, make decisions, and somebody in the end has to answer for those decisions, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
And you want perfect example of complete total failure and collapse is just go look online for some businesses without mentioning them, it's all owned by the owners, we make decisions equally and blah blah blah, and within a few short months it's down to squabbling and who works the least amount to get the most, because it's human nature.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Unfortunately.
well, it could be interesting. Now, I've got one more piece of information to bring in the news section here, just so I don't have a link for it, but I saw something this morning on it. Is WordPress 6.1, while seemingly stable, I've used it several times on sites. I got a notice today that if you have, it's having problems breaking menus that have more than 3 and 4 levels deep. Not very many people do that, but it's something to be aware of. That WordPress 6.1 has a flaw in it. So if you don't need to update to it, don't update yet. Wait for the point version to show up, because there is something there that's causing some themes and menus to break.
Waiting for the point version is usually a better idea.
It's usually the best idea. I often put one of my sites on it because I so brutalize my websites that if it's going to break, it's going to break on my site. And if it's stable on my site, I consider it stable. So, but anyway, just a little note to bring that forward for folks.
And we don't have anything new for our ClassicPress news. They do still have the fundraising goal, but there's no new updates as far as we know. You can always go and check them out on forums.classicpress.net. And then we have the extras. There's always interesting things in the extras. There's Hacktivist, DDoS, all kinds of interesting things that you might want to check out. And then moving on to have a peek at our contest.
This one here caught my eye, man. The British government scanning all internet devices hosted in the UK.
Oh, yes, that's one of the...
So, for those of you that like your security, think about it. Think about it hard. I just thought that was an interesting one. All right.
Yeah.
Continue on.
Go have a peek at our contest for the week.
Our contest for the week.
It's a contest. WordPress plugins from A to Z. Whoa, stop for free! Yeah!
So we do have a winner for our contest that just passed. For our winner, his name is David. If you're listening to the show, be sure to check your email. You've been sent an email. Get back to us, and we'll be able to get you your prize. Our new contest that is starting today is for WP Umbrella. This is a 1-year license, good for 10 sites giveaway, and is valued at $240.
Excellent. And we got a bonus on it this week.
Oh?
Yeah. Charlie was good enough to do a review on WP Umbrella, and we're going to let him talk about the plugin. Take it away, Charlie.
Hi, I'm Charlie. And in this week's WP Plugins A to Z giveaway, we have WP Umbrella. I tried WP Umbrella a couple of years ago when it was just a simple SaaS product. It was just literally an uptime monitor with a few little simple health checks thrown in for good measure. But it's changed a lot since then. Those features are still part of WP Umbrella, but now they've added a set of tools that make it a great alternative to the big names like Main WP and Manage WP. Like other WordPress managers, you can update your plugins, your theme, and even the WordPress core directly from the dashboard. But one thing I really like about WP Umbrella is that your backups are all in the dashboard as well, and it's nearly a one-click operation. All you have to do is select the time you want it to back up and how often. Maybe you want it every month, every week, every day, every 12 hours, or even every hour, which is perfect if you've got a WooCommerce shop that's popular. It still monitors the uptime of your website and of course sends out those emails that nobody likes to get, the emails that make you go, oh, when you see that your website's down. You can still monitor the health of your website from the dashboard, but it's a little limited. It's got some good information about PHP issues listed there. There's a security section, but that's also quite limited at the moment. They are going to expand it because they're looking at making a partnership with a virus and malware scanner company. So that'll be a huge change. But at the moment you can just see whether your SSL certificate's okay and whether you've accidentally left the discouraging search engine box checked on the website, which is a big oops. The dashboard has a really nice reporting section which allows you to send reports to your clients with your own brand. They call them maintenance reports, and they give you information about the updates to the plugins, the core, the themes, a bit about the health information, the uptime, the Google page speed is listed there, and you can link to your Google Analytics, so that's part of the report as well. And you can even add custom work that you've done. Simply click and add with the dates that you did it, what you did, etc. WP Umbrella has come a long way in a short time, and it really makes everything about looking after your website very easy. There are still things I'd like to see improved, such as the security scanner that I mentioned before, domain expiration monitoring, broken link monitoring, and possibly something more with SEO and one-click site staging. But for $1.99 per site per month, it really is exceptional value in comparison with the competition. And now for the exciting bit. On the WP Plugins A to Z giveaway, you could win a license for 10 websites for 1 year on WP Umbrella. That's a great prize, really gives you a chance to try this wonderful new product. And all you have to do is go to wppluginsa2z.com/giveaways. Just enter your name and email address and you're in the competition. Good luck, everybody.
Very cool. Thank you, Charlie. That was a very good review of it.
That was an excellent review. That was awesome.
Excellent.
So, like he said, go to wppluginsa2z.com/giveaway. Enter yourself in there, see if you can win that prize.
Absolutely. All right. Off we go. Time for the good stuff. As soon as I can find it. Time for some plugins. All right. First one I've got for you here today is Markup for WooCommerce. And this one here is a nice, simple, easy way to mark up or raise the prices on all your products nice and simply across the board. Fixed percentages, fixed pricing, price markup on types or products or categories. It's a nice way to manage the pricing in your WooCommerce store. And well, unfortunately, in the world we're in today, prices keep rising. So you got to get in there and adjust those prices on a daily, hourly, or minutely basis before, everyone buys them all up when they're still cheap. And then, you never know. Could change, go the other way, and you might want to lower your prices. If that happens, another way to easily adjust them prices back down. Nice, simple, straightforward plugin to help you manage your WooCommerce store and some of that tedious crap that's in there, such as managing prices and price products. So anyway, go check this one out. It is Markup for WooCommerce, and I give it a 4 Dragon rating.
That does sound like it'd be a good plugin to add for a nice, easy tool.
Yep.
First one I have for today is Crawler Hunter. This is a plugin designed to sniff out bots and web crawlers coming onto your site to check the content of the full user agent string and block the ones other than the ones on the waitlist. You can manually blacklist an IP address, though if you leave it set to automatic IP blocking, it will block the IP address that makes more than 5 requests within 1 minute for 4 hours. You can find the settings for this on the left-hand side of your menu. Just look for Crawler Hunter. It's totally free, and it seems to play really well with others. I rate this at 5 dragons.
Very cool. I think this would be very useful. I may have to throw it in one of my sites. Maybe it'll help block out all the bots hitting your site.
It seems to be doing a pretty good job. It seems to be one of those lightweight, useful ones.
Yeah. Not a lot of those in the world today. It seems all the lightweight, useful ones have, all the developers got graduated from college and got real jobs. All right. Next one I have for you is called Files Fence. Straightforward little plugin, one to help you monitor your website, your core files. This doesn't monitor all the other stuff. It monitors the WordPress core files and checks if there are changes or if there's any unwanted files in there. Because for those that don't know it already, which you should, but anytime you do a WordPress core update, like 6 to 6.1, etc., it removes all the core files and replaces them with new ones. So you get fresh core files, but you should never have anything inside the core directories except the WordPress files. Nothing but, because everything else is connected on the outside. And those are the files you really want to watch, and that's an area where the hackers do go after to try and inject stuff into. And once it gets injected in there, unfortunately, they might stick around even after an upgrade because WordPress doesn't delete all the files. It just overwrites all the ones that are there and adds any new ones that come into the core. Anyway, nice simple one here. It monitors everything and then notifies you if it notices any changes. So go check it out. It's Files Fence, and I give it a 4 Dragon rating.
That does sound really useful. Maybe the two that we just talked about would pair up perfectly.
Between two of them, yeah, they'd probably pair up nicely.
Next one I've got is Confitte Fall Animation. It's a pretty cool plugin. You add a shortcode to your page or post and enjoy the animation.
It's not
if it says
you
Confitte,
said confit. It's confetti to me, but okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought confetti was spelled different.
It might be, but I see confetti in their picture.
Yeah. It is confetti that you get on your screen. But I like the word confit, so I'm going to stick with it.
All right, confit it is.
So, unfortunately, this plugin doesn't play well with others. Like, if you have another decoration plugin, for instance, the Halloween Panda plugin we covered last week, it's not going to work. So, you might need to go in and deactivate other plugins that do decoration type things before this will work. I had to deactivate mine in order to get it to work. So, that is an issue. But otherwise, it works really well. Just add shortcode and let it go. I rate this at 4 dragons.
Very cool.
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A to Z.
Oh, sorry, I was reading Hemdian's thing. Banner is spelt different to title. Probably a typo. Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Meat and Potatoes, a Plugin Depravity edition to bring you our donation segment and to thank our producers. Remember, this is your show. We're just the worker bees here. Don't forget to restock the show's larders with some time, treasure, or talent donations. If you need more information on how to do that, you can go and check out our site, wpplugins.com. Right up in the menu, you will see each one under donations. A special thanks goes out to our freelance producers popping in and out. Though always showing up at unexpected times, these producers are surely part of the reason our name is getting out there. Backroom producers hanging out in the lounge. Always about the place, consuming all the coffee and donuts. These producers earn it by helping out with our contest, artwork, site organization, notes, questions, suggestions, licenses, and by hiring us. Your time and talent donations are equal to your treasure donations of under $50, and we wouldn't be here without you. And War Room producers. With their donations of $50 or more, these producers receive a few extra perks. An official A to Z handle of their choice, a spotlight in that week's show for a short speech, an official executive producership credit, and they get to see the magic as it happens in the War Room before we send the show out into the netherworld of the internet. Thank you for sticking by us and helping to keep us going and our backroom producers stocked in coffee and donuts. If you need more information on all those special perks that War Room producers get, you can always check out our show notes. Thank you. Now back to the meat and potatoes of Plugin Depravity Edition.
Alrighty, and I have the following plugin for you. Last one I've got for you out is Product Sticker. And this is a nice little way to decorate up your products on your WooCommerce website with sale buttons or sale strips or little badges, news strips, sale banners, etc., etc. Just a nice way to make them all a little more stand out. Just be careful how you use it, because you don't want to throw them on every product. You want to throw them on every once in a while to make something stand out. Don't go overboard like a new newspaper editor with 500 fonts in a 17-page paper. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Of course not.
No. So, at any rate, I thought it was a pretty cool plugin. Could be very useful for those running WooCommerce stores to help you enhance your products and make them stick out. And just go check it out. It's Product Sticker, and I give it a 4 dragon rating.
I could definitely see how that could, be easily overdone.
Oh yeah, it's easily abused like everything else. It's not, everything cool is easily abused. Like I said, fonts. When you first publish a newspaper, you think, hey, I can use 14 different fonts on this front page. Yeah.
Kind of sounds like the first site I built just to see how sites are built.
Oh,
it was very
I've still got my first website somewhere on the internet. It can be found as my first website built with all the spinny shits that I created. All the spinny, flashy, black background, and neon letters, and all that cool stuff. Yeah, it's still out there on the internet somewhere.
The last one I have for today is This Day in History. This is a pretty awesome free plugin. It shows things that happened today in history. Unfortunately, apparently there's nothing that happened today in history, because when I put it up, it said no events.
Oh, this was a boring day. November 7th is a boring day in history.
It's a very boring day in history. So to use this, you need to add a short code to your page or post. There are 14 optional attributes you can add, and in order to find them, you need to go to your own settings in your left-hand menu. There you will be able to choose which display is used for the date marker for last era, whether or not to exclude search results, and what message is there for when there is just nothing to note, like today. Like, my thing, when I put it up, just said no events. But you can put nada, boring day, if you want. You can write anything you want in there.
My question
is totally free.
Keep going.
Totally free. Plays well with others. I turned on a couple of the more problematic plugins just to see if it would play really well with others, and it does. It's just a nifty little plugin to add a little more knowledge to your site. I rate this at 5 dragons.
Well, my question is where do they get their list of what's happened in history?
From what I understand, it's just a web crawl, I think. I'm not really sure. Actually, now that I think about it, I have to go look.
Yeah, I'm just because they don't give any information about where it pulls the information from, and that always makes me worry, because if I don't know where it's getting the information, how do I know what it's dumping into my website?
That's a good point.
Because, if you're just tossing a shortcode in, if you're turning on a plugin and tossing a shortcode in, some magic is happening in that plugin that it grabs this information from somewhere and then prints that information into your website. So basically, you're kind of opening yourself up to it. And while it's a really cool thing, I want to know where and how the information's coming from so I can have some faith that they're not one day going to switch out and instead of giving me what's happening in the history, start sticking ads in there or something.
That's a good point.
So, because there's nothing in their thing here to tell you. It tells you how to set it up, what not to show, a whole bunch of little things to do with it, but no information. Just says open it up, active widgets tab, use a shortcode. That's it. You'd have to go read the code to find out how and where it's pulling the information.
MDN said risk of a poisoned well.
Very risk of a poisoned well. So while it's a really cool plugin, it still maintains and gets to keep its rating. It's just something to think about, folks. All right.
Definitely. Well, on to ClassicPress, which we have continued to neglect due to life only just starting to settle down for us. If any of our ClassicPress users are listening right now, I would like to keep up the challenge of challenging you to write a review of your favorite or least favorite ClassicPress plugin and send it in to us. You can do so by hitting us up at wppluginsa2z.com/submit plugin review. And ClassicPress resource section. I like this section. This section is like fruitcake. It doesn't wither away and it will still be good years down the road, so it's great for learning. You can go to our show notes and check this out if you have an interest in learning about ClassicPress. And unfortunately, we do not have anything from our listeners today. No questions, notes, or feedback from our producers out there. I think the homing pigeon might just be lost because, it's all snowy and cold out there. Maybe he found a warm place to sleep.
Yeah. He's wintering over in Jamaica.
That could be why we aren't getting anything.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I know I'd rather winter over in Jamaica.
So you can be part of your own production in our show by getting yourself out there, using us as your tool by doing an interview with us. Or you can send in a plugin review or suggestion. Or you can send in questions and or comments. Fruitcake. And stuff and reminders about stuff. We don't have any meetups going on right now. We are thinking about setting some out, but it really all depends on how moody our island is going to be this winter and how much snow or rain we get. No sense having a meetup. The main highway gets washed out again, or maybe piled in snow. I don't know.
Who knows?
We don't usually get this cold this fast, especially since we were warm like 2 weeks ago.
Yep. 2 weeks ago, it was still 18, 20 degrees. Today, it's 0.
Oh, and just a quick reminder, you can check out our show notes by going to our site, wppluginsa2z.com, and right there on the main page, you will see a picture of our latest show, like what you see on the screen right now. You click on that picture, it'll take you into the show notes of that show. You can also listen to our show there.
Okay.
And today's plugins that we covered were
Markup for WooCommerce, which I gave a 4 to. Files Fence, which I gave a 4 to. And Product Sticker, which I gave a 4 to.
And I covered Crawler Hunter, which I rated at 5. Confitte Fall Animation, which I rated 4. Okay, Confetti Fall Animation. And This Day in History, which I rated at 5. I still like the word confit.
Yeah, it's a cool word. All right.
And if you're trying to think of ways to support the show, you can go and check out our show notes, and it lists them all for you, including just hitting the like button on our YouTube channel and Facebook. If you want to get a hold of us, we do actually have a brick and mortar address you can get a hold of us at. You can check out our show notes, or you can email us. Our emails are right there in the show notes for you as well.
Alrighty.
It's question and answer time with John and Amber.
I like that one. That's a cool one too.
Yeah, that's much smoother too.
So if anybody out there has any questions they'd like to have asked here on the show, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca, and we will see if we can stump my dad. So I got a couple of in your opinions today.
Okay.
First one is actually, in your experience, do plugins that use shortcodes tend to make it big?
I don't understand the question.
Well, plugins that use shortcodes, I've noticed that, like, for myself, the most popular plugins don't seem to be ones that use shortcodes. Like, they don't seem to be the ones where the user has to put in shortcodes themselves, but there are some that have made it big, as in gotten really popular, really well known.
Okay.
So, in your experience, have you found that?
I've never paid attention to whether a plugin uses shortcodes or not, except for shortcodes are there to allow you to do things simply and easily. And almost all plugins, even the really big plugins, like even WooCommerce, has shortcodes available.
Okay.
Shortcodes are there to allow you to put stuff where it wouldn't normally be, such as in the middle of a post or a page. I think that's what shortcodes were originally designed for, was so you could write something up, and because you didn't want it throughout the entire site, you wanted it in one place. And that's where the shortcode came in. So instead of having to, because we used to, at one point, we wanted HTML or some JavaScript query or something to happen on a post or a page that wasn't normally going to happen on a post or a page. You had to go in and manually write. And it was a nightmare. And then the shortcodes were created, and then you allowed you to create a plugin, do all that Java query crap or jQuery or HTML or whatever, and then the final output, which is the HTML, was just brought over from the shortcode. So shortcodes are a part of so many plugins. I don't think it makes a difference whether a plugin gets big because it has or doesn't have a shortcode. The reason a plugin gets big is because it's useful and it solves a problem.
That was actually my next question is, what kind of plugins have you noticed tend to make it big? Like,
only the ones that solve a problem and do it well and do it easy, so that there's not a lot of headache involved in using it. You know, I mean, why is WooCommerce the leader in the e-commerce plugins for WordPress? There's, I think, probably a dozen or more e-commerce plugins. Why is WooCommerce the leader? Because it solved the problem. It's easy to use, and it does most everything, and they made it accessible to third-party developers to add on stuff to it to solve problems that they hadn't thought of. So the same reason, why is Gravity Forms, in my opinion, of course, and many others, why is Gravity Forms work way better than so many others? Now, they've had their ups and downs over time, but over the long term, they always end up exceeding the other form developers, because they continue to solve the problem. Why is the events calendar better than all the other events calendars that are available? You know, even though we considered abandoning it 6 months ago, but we didn't know they had a secret project solving all the problems we were bitching about. And then just about the time I was ready to abandon them, they released a new version and saw, oh, so you guys were listening, but you didn't know, you weren't going to tell us you were listening. Okay,
well,
thanks.
of course not. Then they couldn't do the big surprise.
Yes.
Big reveal.
So it's like but this is why plugins get big, is because they realize they got to keep solving the problems that people come up with. Because once you create and solve your problem and you release it to the world, somebody's going to find a problem that they need solved that your plugin will solve only if you add functionality to it. So that's why plugins make big, is they solve a problem and they make it easy to use while solving that problem.
So no reinventing the wheel or anything, just making the wheel stronger kind of deal.
Making the wheel stronger. I mean, think about the wheels. The wheel has not been reinvented, but think about the first wheels used and the wheels we use now. It's the same wheel.
Huge difference.
It's the same wheel, in essence. Yep. It's just stronger, more functional, smoother, works better, lasts longer. That's what. Same with plugins. They just keep enhancing it. The ones that I've seen go the way, they were really big, and then I've seen them go the way of the dodo, was the ones that thought they could reinvent everything.
Yeah.
And then they try to reinvent it, and at first it's like, okay, but as their reinvention starts to coalesce, it's like, this thing runs like crap now. What do I do with it? Like, there used to be an events calendar that far exceeded what the events calendar can do, And then one day they rewrote it and changed everything. It's like, it's no longer functional. What are you guys doing? And I ended up abandoning them. So
Hemdian has a good question here. A plugin I use has a premium version that requires an annual subscription. I'm not convinced I need the premium version, but the basic plugin has inserted an alert into site health. Is there a way to suppress this alert?
Probably. I don't know it off the top of my head, but there's probably a way to suppress the alert. You'd have to find where the alert is at in their code, or where it calls in the code, and you can comment out that line, because basically the alert is usually what the alert is somewhere in the code there's a call home, which almost all plugins have a call home, especially free versions of premium plugins. They have a call home. Every time you log into the site, or the site runs, or you're an administrator and you hit that, the plugin calls home to say, hey, what's up? I'm doing fine, or give me some information. And then the home sends back the alert, pops it up. But if you can find where that call home piece is in the code, you can disable that by commenting out that code, and you'll never see alerts, and the plugin will never call home again. Probably be a useful one if someone could create a plugin to prevent plugins from calling home, which I bet probably exists.
It probably does.
So, but yeah, it's that sort of thing for it. So that much I do know. I've done that. I've gone in and modified plugins. And I found those kind of calls and blocked them out because I wanted to circumvent what they were doing because they were annoying me.
All right, so I do have 2 more questions to ask after the closing credits. So for everyone listening right now, don't leave yet. Wait till after the credits, or the end of the song, or sorry, after the credits, and then come back to the questions.
All right. Well, let's close out the show for those listening on the podcast download.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty. Hello. You mute yourself again?
So, well, that time I actually had a coughing fit, so I figured it was a good idea.
Oh, yeah. Well, in that case, you got an excuse.
Yeah, I have an excuse this time. I like my mute button, even though sometimes I press it by accident. I'm learning. It's a new toy. So, my next question for you is, what do you think the plugins that are really just multi-tools with too many tools, or why do you think these ones have made it so big when it seems like a lot of developers don't really like these ones?
Well, problem with them is developers don't overly use them. And they're often used by the person that is building their own website. And from my viewpoint on it, it's mostly because they want everything in one spot. easy to manage it at all. They don't realize the grief it brings in or causes in a website. So they just don't know. They're happy with whatever load speed they have, et cetera, for the site.
Okay.
So it's just, that's the only thing I can think of for it, is that, you know, they make it big because they're pushed forward too. I mean, biggest one I know of is those crazy tools, Jetpack from WordPress.
Jetpack is what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, well, Jetpack started out as a good idea. At first, I liked it, but then they started overloading it with crap, and then it started not working very well with multiple stuff. You know, creating all kinds of grief along the way, and it's just one of those things that was just annoying as hell.
Yeah.
But oops, messed that up.
That doesn't sound good. Whoops is never good during the show.
No, I saved the file in the wrong format. I got to go back and resave the file.
Okay, that's not so bad.
I got to go back and resave a file. Anyway, Jetpack is pushed to the top because of course WordPress is run, operated, and primarily dealt with by Automatic. Jetpack is a product of Automatic.
Okay.
And because it's a product of Automatic, it gets special treatment. Even though they deny it gets special treatment, it gets special treatment. It's always gotten special treatment. In its promotions, who does what, where, when, all of that. And that's just what they've done.
Okay.
In fact, once they bought WooCommerce, one of the reasons WooCommerce stays at the top, once Automatic bought WooCommerce has gotten some special treatments. While they deny it, and you know, it does. It gets special treatments in promotions. It's always on the recommended page. You know, WordPress, like when you go into your WordPress plugins page, it used to have several tabs in there. It used to have recommended page. It used to have most used page. It used to have newest page. You know, you can get to all the different areas of sorting. And then they flipped it over so it was recommended or most used. I can't remember which one's default now. I forget.
I think it's featured.
Featured
is the first one that pops up now.
Yeah, and featured. And who determines which ones are featured?
The ones who have the biggest clout, I guess.
Yeah, you know, the ones who have the biggest clout. The featured ones are determined by Automatic. So, in essence, they do that. That's why they stay so big. That's why they get big. That's why they stay big. You know,
okay.
you have to know the right people, say the right things, to get all of that sort of thing. And that's, unfortunately, it's the way the world runs. I don't begrudge it. It just irritates me. They used to make it easier, and it was more autocratic. Maybe is that the word I'm looking for? Not autocratic. More anarchy. Anarchia.
Anarchaic? I'm not sure what the plural would be.
Yeah, I'm not sure what plural would be. It was more along the lines of anarchy, whereas, you know, the best rose to the top.
Indian said, Jetpack is the only plugin allowed on sites, in quotes, hosted by WordPress.
Yes, at WordPress.com. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that.
Oh.
You know, so they limit it, and I don't blame them. It's like I'd do the same thing if I was in control and had the power and the money.
A good way to make money.
Yeah, it's how you keep yourself in money. I mean, everyone's got to earn a living. Somebody's got to pay for all the hours that go into the coding. I don't begrudge it at all. It just irritates me. So, anyway, that's the reason why they're so big and why they stay so big. And there's only a few of the multi-tool ones. Like, there's a lot of multi-tool plugins out there. I've used quite a few of them, and some of them are, you know, they're hardly anyone knows they exist.
I was thinking more along the lines of like Jetpack, and there's a couple others that I was thinking of when I wrote that question, but I've tried using them, and I just get confused and frustrated.
Yeah, and they do slow the website down. The more plugins you turn on them, the more problems they seem to occur in the website. And then
they're heavy.
They're heavy.
Last question I have for you is, what do you think about the new site for plugins by iCode? Do you think it'll work as a replacement for the WP rankings that WordPress.org removed?
It probably will. It probably will. I think it's probably going to work out. I didn't look at the site. And, likely spam. Go away, spammer. Yeah, I think it's going to satisfy the need for those that want that information or use that information in their marketing or however it gets used. And I think it'll probably solve the problem. I don't know how the creators of the site will make money off the site or turn it into something that provides enough money for them to pay for keeping the site running, because it's a bit of coding and it's a bit of website management. Not a lot of money, but it's still money. It's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to think everything's free in the world. Well, no, it's not. It's got to be paid for somehow. So what could happen with this is these guys could get into it and nobody's supporting them. The people using it are going, hey, information's still free. You don't got to pay for it. And they don't pay to support it, or they don't donate to the developers that created this. And these guys realize I still got to feed my family. I got to pay my house payment or my rent or whatever. Got to get gas to get to work or whatever. And they're going to go, hey, we just can't keep this going because somebody's got to pay for it. That's what's happened so much to all the wonderful free plugins we had, because, of course, in the beginning, most of the plugins in the beginning were created by college students that were just learning the code. And then as they graduated college, university, and went on to get real jobs, the plugins started languishing because nobody picked them up and nobody could make them into businesses.
Nobody new came along and picked it up to make it better.
Yeah. And that's happened to a lot. I had a lot of plugins I used that over the last 5 years I've had to replace because the developer didn't want to do them. I don't have time to rewrite the code. I can't pay someone to rewrite the code. There have been one or two where I have actually paid someone to rewrite the code and bring it up to date.
Oh, that's cool.
Because it was such a needed thing. But that's the joy, is if you find an old plugin and you happen to code, you find an old plugin you love or one you think can be turned into a business, grab the copy of that code and start recoding it. Give it a new name, give the previous authors all the credit they deserve for creating the base for you, and then run with it. And that's how WooCommerce was created. It was forked from Jingo something store. It was the best e-commerce store created initially, and if they'd have stayed on track, they'd still be number one, but WooCommerce came along and cleaned their clock.
So my random giggle there was I read Hemdian's comment. That's how you keep yourself in money? And here I was thinking I need a rich wife.
Well, rich wife would work too. Problem is rich wives don't often stick around.
Oh, they do if you keep the house clean.
Yeah, well, I'm not even going to go into all the other problems with that one, but okay. All right, I think that pretty much wraps it all up, folks.
Yep.
We don't got much else here, so I think we'll play a little music and carry us on out of here. Off we go.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun.
Alrighty, folks. That's all we've got for you now.